welcome back to another speed build video. I hope you've had an amazing weekend and have an amazing week ahead of you. And if you're new here, welcome. Feel free to introduce yourself down in the comments below and we can all get to know each other a little bit better. And to all my sweet returning viewers, thank you so much for subscribing and all that jazz. It means a lot to me. I've had so much growth lately. Also, I just, restarted the account, but everyone's been leaving such sweet comments and, it's really exciting to see the channel grow and it's such a treat to have you all on this journey with me. Okay, so I know this video is a little bit late and it's getting past my bedtime because here in Denmark it's getting late where I am, but I really wanted to get this video out tonight. So the reason I am a little late is kind of twofold, or maybe not. It's just yeah, it's twofold. Let's say that. Let's give me another reason. So first off, this is a huge build. This took me so long, and when I only have a week to, get a whole video done with all the editing, but also the, video taping of them, the recording, and the recording of this voiceover and everything, all the hours I spent on it really adds up, and, I love it. I enjoy it so much, so there's no problem there. But it was a little bit hard for me to get it done in time, so I've been editing this a little bit quickly, so I really hope I didn't leave any mistakes in there. If I did, then feel free to call me out in the comments, because God knows I could probably use a little bit of a call out after this one. I don't know, but I am very excited to share the build because it is so huge and it's so fun, and I really wanted to start making these more magical builds because the mermaid hangout video went really well, so this is more of a coven for witches. And the other reason that I am a little late is simply procrastination, because apparently it was more important to me to take a nap and stuff like that. So that's just the person I am, and I really do not have any excuse for that. That is, but I think we can all relate. And it's also not the end of the world if I get a video out a little bit late. It is obviously just, entertainment and for fun, and this is a small channel. I don't think any of you are waiting around for the clock to strike. Yeah. Anyway, as you can see, this build has sort of a weird shape. It is kind of like an octagonal, and I remembered I actually saw a little Simsies shell challenge, and they were joking about making an octagon and being like, no, that would be the worst. And I know why it would be the worst, because there are so many issues with the lighting when you use all those diagonal walls, but it was fun nonetheless. So it's kind of like this huge octagon with a big tree in the middle of it, and I had so much fun storytelling in my head while I was building this. So we've got a lot going on in this build. There are so many personalities assigned to each room I make, and then also, to the coven itself. I'm kind of picturing, this coven of witches, and, they're very into nature, all of them. It's a very, earthy coven. I think I've said it in a previous video, but I've always been drawn to witches and, this whole, botanical and earthy, and I don't even really know how to describe it, but it's all about celebrating their connection to nature and, their roots and stuff like that. I guess they're kind of maybe druids more so than witches, or, a little bit of both. Either way, it was absolutely the most fun I've had in a long time building and coming up with all those different rooms, because, as I said, they're not a monolith, these witches. They all have very distinct personalities, and I created kind of the second floor that is where all the dorms are. So they all live together on this big lot, and downstairs there's a lot of very, communal spaces. They have their spellcraft room, they have their library, their kitchen, their garden, greenhouse gardening room is a magnificent room, if I should say so myself, and dining room. So all those things are kind of downstairs, whilst when you go upstairs, that's when you find all of the more personal places. You find where all the different witches live in their different, some share a room, some don't share rooms, and then there's also the bathrooms upstairs. So this build has room for a lot of witches. I mean, I guess I could only make 8 witches because that's the default, but you could definitely fit a lot more than 8 in here. If you have MC Command Center, that way you can, that's a mod where you can kind of, you can increase the size of the household. So, you know, as a default, you can only have 8 Sims in a household, but you know, it's also a little bit sad that we don't have any pets in here and stuff like that. So if you want to add all those things, there are mods for it out there. And I recommend MCCC, MC Command Center, because I worked a bit with Ryan on it. I made their website, so that's funny. I don't know, I was really proud of it. I'm not proud of it anymore. Now that I am done with my degree, it's kind of like, oh, you know, you always cringe looking back on past projects, but it is still better than the 90s stuff he had going on before. That was that was a little bit of a mess and a half, but it was all good fun because obviously Deaderpool Ryan, he is this amazing mastermind, great developer and coder, but he did not really have the whole front-end spirit down, and I came in and was like, hey, can I remake it for you? And he let me, so it was a lot of fun working on that, but it's been a few years now. So anyway, if you ever have any problems with the website, you can all blame me. Don't blame the amazing creator of the mod. Blame me. I am the one who made all the mistakes. I was on my learning journey, but it was a lot of fun. And obviously it's an iconic mod. I think everyone probably who uses mods uses that one too. And yeah, it's pretty iconic, and you can do all sorts of things with it, and you can also increase the household limit, so that way you can have 1 million witches in here if you want. I don't know if you can have 1 million. I never really increased mine, but you can have a lot of witches living here. Anyway, so far we're counting 4 beds. I made a room just for a couple of kids who I, think of as kind of like little apprentices, spellcasters in learning, in training, I don't know what you say, but it's a really cute room I ended up making for them. Very pink, very light and fluffy, and this is probably one of my 2 favorite rooms. It's the kind of botanical room. So this is also a dorm for 2 women, and again, you can fit 4 in here if you want, but I just gave them a double bed each. And so it's for a couple of green witches, and I imagine that they're the ones who spend all their time gardening downstairs and keeping all the plants alive mostly, and they're just, very connected to nature, and so it's also invaded their room very much. All of them have a lot of plants, but this one is particularly green, and I just absolutely adore that. I can't keep that many plants alive where I live, because it's so dark in here, and all my plants died since moving here because they didn't get enough sunlight, so that's a little sad, but these girls can keep it green forever if they want to. We're already moving on to another room, and this is for a couple of elders, at least, in my save it's for a couple of elders, and they are, the very wise and mature witches who have so much to teach all the others, and they have this, I decided it would be fun to embrace the kind of granny vibes, so you'll also get, some very old school curtains, and it's also very light in here. There's a lot of, books and stuff, and I also made them a little tea station. I thought that was a really cute idea, that they just retreat and have their talks up there, and they're probably the ones steering the Coven in the right direction and, making all those kinds of decisions, and it also ended up just being, a really cute room, I think. So yeah. Very cozy, very grandma core, and we all love grandmas. Yeah, and they're also the ones who have a seance table. I haven't used it much because paranormal is of course a new pack to me. I was supposed to make another limited pack build with mostly paranormal, but I just couldn't help myself. I needed to get this out of my head, and yeah, so that's how we ended up with a huge build instead of, the limited pack build that I was originally supposed to make this week. I'm sorry. But I really hope that you enjoy this Coven as much as I do, because it's so much fun. And in general, if you're into all these like, you know, huge builds, then you should really check out someone called Jessica Pye. She makes the most incredible things here on YouTube. She also just posted something about autumn in Edinburgh. You know, a townhouse build, not townhouses, but apartments in this huge old castle-y manor thing, and it's amazing. So if you don't know her, you should check her out. Yeah, I just like to give shout-outs because she is definitely someone who inspires me a lot when I build. Now, if you haven't noticed, this is obviously for the Crystal Lady. So for, you know, the witch who's really into crystals, and I gave her a bunch of stuff from the Crystal Creations pack, and I really think the Crystal Creations pack and the Realm of Magic pack, they work together so well, and it was so much fun to build this room too. It's not my favorite. My favorite is probably the one coming up next, you know, along with the botanical room. But I'd also really like to know what your favorite room is. Like, if you had to move into one of these rooms, which would it be? I would probably... Honestly, I don't know if the one I like the most is the one I'd move into, so, you know, if those are different things for you too, then, you know, include that in your comment. Because some things are so aesthetically pleasing, but it's not really, you know, where we'd actually like to live, at least for me, because sometimes, you know, you need different things around you than the things that you love in theory. Okay, but I'm just going to start talking about this next room, and it's an artist room. So I used the artist studio kit in there a lot, and again, all of this is sponsored by my brother. He's the one who just gave me a bunch of packs, and I just couldn't help myself. I had to build with them. So this is very inspired by the artist studio kit, but also a lot of base game stuff, because, you know, a lot of us probably love the new kit and stuff like that, but most of us aren't going to just go out and get it immediately. I wouldn't have gotten it if it wasn't a present. And so there are also a lot of amazing things in base game that work so well for, you know, an artist studio. There are the big blue shelf with all the canvases, and then in general the canvases I put on the ground, and some of the sketches, and the Van Gogh bed, and all those things are actually base game. So there is, you know, a good match in here, and you can also make amazing artist studios with just the base game. I should probably do that next time. But I just really love this room. It is so moody. It's, you know, blue. Everything's blue and dark, and you know, obviously it's an artist sim. I have this sim, and she has like glassed over eyes, mine. So I just imagine her to be kind of a psychic, and then she probably just, you know, sketches down what she sees and paints it, and I think that's pretty cute, the idea of that. But it is, you know, a very lovely room, and I also loved, you know, the touches from Romantic Garden and all the statues I could find and like kind of plop in there. It's just, I really like the vibe of this room, so this is probably my favorite, if not the botanical room. I can't decide. But I mean, I've been rambling so long that we already moved on into the kitchen, and that's not my favorite room. Not that it's a bad room, I love the room, it was just, I was talking about the artist room still. Anyway, this kitchen, that's when it really hit me how huge everything was. Oh my god. This, I had no idea when I first started, you know, putting down that wall of cabinets, like, how am I going to, like, what am I even gonna do with this room? But I think I filled it out quite nicely, and I'm actually really proud of it because it didn't end up looking empty or anything like that. It's a really nice kitchen, and there were, you know, a few spaces to eat in there as well. I thought, you know, the kids do their homework and, you know, their spell work in there. There's also the, I put down this big cauldron in the corner, and there's another tea station because these witches, they love their tea. I had to keep putting down tea stations, and they love tea. It's not just because I needed to put down something, and, you know, their like came first, right? Yeah, probably. Let's just say that. Let's roll with it. But it was a pretty fun kitchen to make. It was obviously huge, and when you build something so huge, it can be hard. So I did put down, you know, a double oven and double fridge and stuff like that, but also, you know, there are 8 Sims living there, I think it's pretty realistic that you'd need a big kitchen to feed all those people. And it doesn't matter that you don't really need it in The Sims. I need it for my head, you know? That's just what they need. Also, I like to sometimes make windowsills like these, like fake windowsills, and not a lot of things will slot to these small shelves. So if you have, you know, another shelf that is bigger that you can freely place, then I can recommend, you know, slotting things to that and then dragging it over with the Alt key down or the Option key, depending on, you know, what kind of PC you use. And then you can drag it out and it will be placed, you know, in the exact correct height. But anyway, we're on to the living room, and I don't think these couches are the most functional, I have to say. I went from the huge kitchen to suddenly feeling like there was not enough room for what I wanted in here, which is obviously so dumb, but you know, it happens to all of us when we make floor plans, and especially ones like this where, you know, it is very, it's a very strict floor plan. I didn't have, you know, as much room to like kind of, you know, make new walls and stuff like that, because I wanted to have it be mirrored and, you know, everything kind of built on top of each other in that way. So there wasn't really room to make it wider, because that would ruin the octagonal shape in the middle. But anyway, some things are definitely functional. You know, you can definitely go read in the little room I'll be making. There's also, you know, the chessboard and all those things. It's just sometimes, you know, in a build like this where I put so many things down, I will admit not everything is functional, but I don't leave anything, you know, that they'll need out. So maybe there's, you know, a single couch they can't really sit on, you know, or a spot they can't get to, or I'll place something in front some of the walls of, you know, I make all these big walls of books and, you know, bookcases. And honestly, when there are, you know, probably 100 bookcases in this build, they don't need to be able to access all of them, at least in my opinion. You know, if you couldn't get to any of the bathrooms or any of the toilets, that would be a real problem. If you couldn't get to a shower, or you couldn't have them make food or anything like that, that would be really, really annoying. But, you know, it's more about having, you know, all the things you need in order for a build to be functional, you know. So there are some places you can't really get to in this build, and I accepted that, because I wanted it to be way more cluttered and I wanted the plants everywhere and stuff like that. But as long as they can get into every room and they can, you know, use the main things, then I'm fine. So I hope that you share that same philosophy about it, because obviously there's nothing worse than downloading a build that is gorgeous and then it doesn't work at all. But obviously, as I show you with my Sims doing all the different things and activities in here, things work. But there will obviously be, you know, some places where, you know, I place some things in front of other things and, you know, let things be kind of more decor and background objects instead of everything being, you know, absolutely functional. Even in this greenhouse, I haven't playtested everything yet, as I am doing this voiceover. Some things may be moved around a little bit, but there are probably a few of the planters and stuff that your Sims can't really get to. But obviously there are a lot of planters and a lot of places to plant things. So again, I didn't think of it as a big deal. I kind of care more about, you know, the image as a whole, as long as most things are, you know, functional and you can get to do all the activities that it looks like you can do. Anyway, I think this is a good time to tell you that this build will be up on the gallery soon, but it isn't yet because I wanted to get this video out first, and I really also want it to be as functional as possible, so I will be doing a lot of rigorous playtesting that I really just didn't have the time to do yet. But hopefully by this time tomorrow it'll be on the gallery, and, you know, as much as possible will be completely functional, and it'll be free to download. Of course, it's on the gallery, and my gallery ID is sarahsanda. It is also in the description below. Yeah, so I'm sorry about the delay in the upload on the gallery, but I just really wanted to be, you know, as perfect as possible. And sometimes, you know, if I only just have to, like, you know, scooch something a little bit, then I'll do that to make something functional. Yeah, so I'll be doing all that tomorrow, and I really, really hope that, those of you who enjoy the build will, download it if you like it. But again, this is a very heavy packed build. But there is absolutely no custom content or anything like that. I never use that in my game, or I do, but on my Sims, not on my build buy stuff. So yeah, that you can download it on the gallery tomorrow. Okay, so now we're moving outside for a bit, and I really wanted this to be kind of like in the woods somehow. It's not. It's on a 64 by 64 lot in the cottage living world, Henford on Backley. And with a build like this, I really wish I could have even bigger lots, which is insane because it's obviously already a huge lot, but I would have loved to, make, a whole forest where they could walk down paths and, find a little lake and all these hidden things in the woods, and you don't really have the freedom to do that, but I would love that one day. But I don't think that's going to come to The Sims 4. But anyway, yeah, so this is the outside of it, and obviously I had, so much fun just putting plants all over it. There are so many plants here, and I just embraced all the different aspects of it, and I also got a lot of more magical things, like all the magical floating orbs and stuff like that. But here, back on the inside, we're also making a magical bath. So this is kind of I imagine these girls are very comfortable around each other. So having, common showers or communal showers, I don't think that's a big deal for them. And then this is kind of a huge relaxation room. So this is more like a spa than just a general, bathroom, because I do also have the normal bathrooms. They're a little bit boring, but this is more like a magical relaxation room. There'll be a bunch of candles, you'll see all the potions and stuff like that. And another thing you'll notice in a lot of the rooms that you don't really see when you're watching a speed build is that all the potions I put down are kind of relevant to the Sims I imagine live there. So I put down a bunch of tomes and books and stuff like that from Debug, and it can kind of look random when you're just watching them all be dragged out, but it'll be things like, in the room with the elders, there are rejuvenation potions and immortality potions and stuff like that. So it's all, very specific to the different rooms they're in, except for the, big communal rooms downstairs where there's just a bunch of everything. But you'll notice in a lot of the rooms that I tried to be a little bit specific, and I read, oh, what is this about? What is this about? So that's kind of small Easter eggs, I think. Also, for the regular bathrooms, I really like the idea of all of them having their own little cubbies. So you'll notice there are 4 on one side, in the one bathroom, and 4 in the other bathroom, and I filled it up with things that are personal to each sim. I didn't really have any sims in mind for this one. I just put down random stuff I thought fit in bathrooms, but I thought it was a cute idea that all of them would have their own little cubby with things for when they need to shower and stuff like that. But in just a little bit, we'll be moving on to the grand dining room, which I think is the last room for this build. Apart from, the huge octagon in the middle with the tree. So for that room, I ended up doing something I thought was really cute. I put down a bunch of the wand holders, or, display cases for wands by the entrance door. And I thought it would be really cute that whenever they go inside to have dinner, they put down their wands and, put them away in each of their little cases, and then they can go have dinner together. And I thought that was, kind of a cute idea. Everyone's disarmed, everything's now it's kind of more family time. And I know it's silly because obviously they don't do that, but I like the whole, role playing in my head with The Sims. I think it's just kind of part of the fun. But yeah, after this I'll be headed back outside where I'll be doing a lot of terrain manipulation, and that's again when it comes in that I want a bigger lot. Because the house is so huge, but I really would have loved to have it, be either in, a huge valley or on a big cliff or just anything. And it's really hard when you don't have, that much space. So if you want to do, all those incredible terrain manipulations and forest and stuff like that, you can't also have it be a huge build. But I should probably make one that is more focused on the outside soon, and then have, the house be kind of a tiny house or something like that, and then I can do all my valleys and cliffs and stuff outside. But I just wish I could have the best of both worlds all the time. Anyway, thank you everyone to, all of you who are still here listening to me rambling. I would really like to know if you enjoy these longer videos or if you'd like me to keep them briefer. Both things are possible, obviously. I know I like long videos from other creators, but it's all, personal preference, and I don't know what your preference is, obviously. I only know my own. So I really hope you enjoy these longer videos, because I do. Even though it's really hard to listen to myself talk for this long. But obviously this build is very much a build I made for me, because I thought it would be really interesting and fun to do. But I also really love to take your suggestions and ideas into account. Obviously the last build I made, the Dark Academia Manor, was a suggestion from one of my lovely viewers, one of you guys. And I'd really love to do more of your suggestions, so if you have anything you'd like to see me build in The Sims, comment it down below. I'd love to do it, and let me know what pack restrictions you have. It would be such a shame if you ask for something and then I made this huge build, or maybe not a huge build, depending on what you want. But if I made this build and you couldn't even download it because you didn't have the right packs. So I do love to do limited pack builds, but also, if you just have any combination of packs, let me know. I can make something for you, and obviously, if people are here watching this video, they'll also be watching a video for whatever I make for you. So please, leave your ideas, leave your suggestions. It may always be a couple of weeks before I get to it, because I always have a lot of ideas in my mind, a lot of things I want to get to. But I do really love to, take suggestions into account, and it's very refreshing and inspiring. So yeah, please leave all your ideas down below, and I promise I'll be reading all of them. Just as I always read all your comments, because they really do mean so much to me. But anyway, this right here that we're going to get to now is the last room, and it's the huge octagon in the middle. So both the first floor and the second floor is kind of one room in my mind, and it's all, about this huge tree in the middle, that everything is kind of built around. Yeah, I'm just putting down a few details, the columns and stuff down here, in the first floor, before we'll be going upstairs, where in front of each dormitory I'll be putting a few signifiers outside to just kind of like show who lives where and stuff like that. And I thought it was really fun, going around in that circle on the second floor and kind of like seeing how everyone like decorated outside their rooms. It reminds me a lot of when I went to boarding school when I was younger, and I went to boarding school and people would always like decorate their doors and stuff like that, and I don't think it's quite as juvenile in this case. It did feel a little bit juvenile, to put it down, but it was also a little bit fun, like in here the artist lives, so I'll be putting down some artist stuff, and in there the kids live, so obviously there'll be, a little toy outside and stuff like that. The elders basically get a reading nook, and I think of it a little bit as like, when you're sent to the principal's office and you have to sit outside and wait, or kind of like a little waiting room, you go knock knock, and the two old ladies in there will be discussing some very serious common matters, so you can just sit outside in little comfy chairs and wait for them. But yeah, we are steadily nearing the end of this build. There are a few things left. I know that, downstairs there will be kind of a little altar by the tree, which I thought was very fun. And then also I'll be putting a gallery around, like a whole gallery wall. So between all the doors downstairs, there are like portraits and pictures of, previous Coven members, even a few men sneak their way in there. And all these things, so I'm just putting down all these finishing touches, and then I really let the outside in. I found all these cool debug things. I found a lot of cool debug from the werewolf pack. I didn't even really know it had all that good debug, but it had some amazing stuff, and I really used it to just like bring the outside in and kind of like fill it up a little bit more. But that is kind of the last thing that I'm doing here. I will also be, doing the entrance, but it's not really, that special. It is just like a little entrance. Yeah, so anyway, thank you so much for watching this with me, and if you liked it, please remember to, leave a like or a little comment with your favorite room, and maybe even subscribe if you'd like to see anything else. It's also a little bit awkward to do these little self-promos in the end, but honestly, if you've spent the last half hour with me, maybe you'd like to spend more time with me another day. So yeah, feel free to, subscribe, be a part of the little club or our little coven. It's not a club, but either way, it means a lot to me, and I'm just very thankful that you all wanted to watch this video, and I hope you have an amazing week ahead of you. I will let you all know how my job interview goes, and I am very excited to hear how your last week went and your next week will go. Yeah. Anyway, instead of rambling on and on, I will just leave you now, I think, so you can enjoy the rest of the build come together. There is not a lot left of the interior where I'll be, letting the outside into the octagon and stuff like that. It will be very green, I promise. And then, you'll get the cute little end scenes with the Sims, and I really hope you enjoy it, and I hope I'll see you again next week for the next video. And let me know what you want to see in the next video, because I don't really know what to do yet. I was very focused on this build this week. But again, I appreciate you so much, so thank you for watching. I hope you have an amazing week ahead of you. And yeah, see you in the next video. Bye!